On June 2nd, 1983, at around 4:30 p.m., Air Canada Flight 797 took off from Dallas International Airport for a flight to Montreal with a stopover in Toronto. At 6:51 p.m., just as the flight was getting over the Louisville, Kentucky area, the pilot and the first officer heard a popping sound, which was the rear bathroom breaker tripping. The pilot immediately attempted to reset the breaker, but it immediately tripped again, so he waited 8 minutes to try again to see if it needed to cool down at 6:59 p.m. At around 7 p.m., one of the passengers in the rear of the plane began to complain to one of the flight attendants that there was a weird smell coming from one of the bathrooms. The flight attendant tracked the smell to the bathroom, opened the door, and observed light smoke inside the bathroom. She called the lead flight attendant down, who came back and observed black smoke curling around the wall panels between the outside of the skin of the plane and the actual interior decorative panels. As the first officer was headed back to investigate the source of the smoke further, the plane lost main power and had to switch to emergency power. When he finally reached the bathroom door, he went to open it, and the handle was hot to the touch, so he elected to leave it, return to the cockpit, and tell the captain that he really thinks that they should start descending now. Just after the first officer returned, they lost emergency power in the plane and had to switch to battery power. Unfortunately, due to the loss of main and emergency power, some of the electrical systems in the plane stopped working entirely. These failures included the horizontal stabilizers, which were stuck in the cruise position, which made descent incredibly difficult, as well as numerous flight instruments in the actual cockpit. So air traffic control out of Indianapolis had to help guide the plane via radar in order to make it a safe landing. As smoke filled the cabin and the cockpit, the plane made an emergency landing at Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport. As soon as they were on the ground, the pilot and first officer shut off the plane, and flight attendants opened the doors to allow some of the passengers to escape. Unfortunately, as they did so, it fed oxygen to the rapidly growing fire in the cabin, which allowed flashover to occur in about 90 seconds. On board the plane at the time were 41 passengers. Only 18 would make it off alive. The remaining 23 would burn alive aboard the plane as it flashed over rapidly. Due to the rapid spread of the fire through the cabin, the first officer could not make it through the cockpit door to make it out of the plane, so he had to exit out the emergency exit window. The captain, meanwhile, was so exhausted from the physical exertion of landing the plane, he had to be sprayed with firefighting foam to wake up enough to be able to escape. Essentially, all of the victims were found in the front portion of the plane, aside from 2 who appear to have gotten lost in the smoke and wandered to the back of the plane attempting to escape. Most of the victims were found either in their seats or in the aisle. After this fire, smoke detectors became required in the bathrooms, walkway lighting on the aisles, and all planes have to be evacuated within 90 seconds of the commencement of an evacuation.